I can't believe you actually volunteered to defend these films.
Why can't you believe that? I'm on the right side of this. I'm gonna win.
I'm gonna tear you apart.
I know.
Hey, welcome to Adaptable.
The show where we debate whether the book or movie is better.
I'm Forrest.
And I'm Jake.
And today we're going to be debating
The Hobbit. Before we start the debate, let's talk plot about the book and all three movies.
And a fair warning, this episode will not be spoiler-free.
Our story begins with Bilbo Baggins being surprised with a knock at his door by the wizard Gandalf and 12 dwarves.
Gandalf attempts to convince Bilbo to join the dwarves on a journey to reclaim the dwarves' homeland, which is currently being occupied by a dragon.
What follows is a series of misadventures, including trolls, goblins, giant spiders, elves, and a creature named Gollum who possesses a magical ring.
Throughout the trials and tribulations of their adventure, the dwarves eventually accept Bilbo as one of their own. They finally arrive at Lake Town, which sits at the base of the Lonely Mountain, former kingdom of the dwarves.
Bilbo sneaks into the mountain, awaking the dragon Smaug, who attacks Lake Town and is shot down by a local villager.
What happens next is a huge battle as 5 different armies converge upon the mountain to reclaim its hidden treasures.
The dwarves emerge victorious, reclaim the mountain and all its riches, and Bilbo returns home with his share of the treasure.
Today, I'll be defending the book.
And I'll take the movies.
But since the book came out first...
good luck.
Thank you. I'll go first. The book is incredible, and here's why. For my first reason, I gotta point out the structure of the book. It was originally meant to be a children's book, not necessarily at a children's reading level, but meant to be read to a child. The actual chapters are broken up in such a way that you could read it to your child every single night, and he would come across a different adventure every single time, chronicling the different adventures of Bilbo and company, from Bag End all the way to the Lonely Mountain and back. The second reason why the book is so good is it's an incredible introduction to the world of epic fantasy. It's not a sequel, it's not part of a massive series that takes massive amounts of time to get through, but it's about a 300-page book that really stands well on its own. It can be read as a single adventure. The third reason why the book is so amazing is it's a great entryway into a rich literary tradition. After reading Hobbit as a child, it started me on a journey discovering the rich world of fantasy and literature out there. I began reading books like Les Miserables, of course The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. After The Hobbit, reading really didn't seem like that much of a chore. I began to really enjoy it. Almost every single fantasy book after J.R.R. Tolkien's time is in some way loosely based or inspired by his incredible work. And this is an excellent entry point.
And this is an excellent exit point. Let's talk movies. My first point is this. In the movies, the Battle of the Five Armies is a battle. In the book, Bilbo gets knocked unconscious and completely misses the whole thing. A page later, the battle's over. In the movies, you get to see elves, dwarves, orcs, eagles, all fighting together. In the movie, you get to see different styles of fighting. The way the elves fight, the way the dwarves fight, how elegant the elves are, how brutish the dwarves are. The entire story is leading up to this moment. And with the movies, you get to actually witness it and enjoy it. It gives the story a grander climax. My second point, Peter Jackson takes some liberties in the movies to explain things that were left out of the book. At one point, the wizard Gandalf disappears, and we don't see him for a while until he reappears later in the book. But in the movies, you get to actually see where he goes. You get to see the entire White Council take on a bunch of wraiths and Sauron himself. The movies flesh the story out beyond a children's tale and give us the knowledge I've always wanted to know of what happens to Gandalf and where he goes. My third point is this. In a lot of movies, the actors never quite live up to the description of the characters that the author has so richly described. But in these movies, the actors exceed expectations. Martin Freeman, Sir Ian McKellen, Christopher Lee, one of his last movies, Cate Blanchett, Andy Serkis, Benedict Cumberbatch with Martin Freeman. The list goes on and on. Some of these roles are reprised, which just makes your heart swell to see them back again for more. All of these actors, they make these movies incredible.
If only they would have stuck to the incredible source material. Peter Jackson took so many liberties with the source material, adding a plethora of characters that weren't in the material, adding plot points that didn't really go anywhere, and let's be fair, that love triangle, 2 elves and a dwarf, doesn't work.
I'll give you this. They shouldn't have made it 3 movies. Everybody knows that. But I think what Peter Jackson did by making it 3 movies is he had to come up with other characters to push the story forward. Yes, there's no Azog the Defiler, but it gives you an enemy to chase them into the next movie. It pushes things forward.
But that's what exactly is the problem with these movies. There are 3 of them, and 1 book. And the book itself isn't split up in a traditional 3-act structure that lends itself to amazing movies. It's episodic. They had to break that episodic nature out into 9 different parts. A beginning, a middle, an end for the first movie, a beginning, a middle, and an end for the second movie, and a beginning and a middle and an end to the third movie. And they're having to extrapolate way farther than they need to, creating characters and plot cul-de-sacs that don't really go anywhere.
I'll give him that. But you gotta give me this. The actors make those movies. Take the 12 Dwarfs. In the book, they're just a bunch of names. Maybe you remember 3 of them. The movies show you the differences between all 12, and you get to know each one of them a little bit better than you would in the books.
I will give you this. Martin Freeman as Bilbo, Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug. Okay, you're right. That was fantastic. However, so little emphasis beyond the first movie actually was on the dwarves. It ended up being narrowed upon Bilbo and Thorin Oakenshield. And the rest, probably halfway through the second movie, don't really get much screen time.
They get more screen time than the book gives them.
Only if they're the hot young ones.
I am personally grateful that I got the opportunity to see these wonderful actors portray these characters, and even more so many of them reprise roles that have been in my heart for years since I was a kid watching Lord of the Rings.
But look, the movie can't even support these characters. Tolkien put so much time and effort into creating a world where these characters lived and breathed within. Whereas the movies were cobbled together quickly with bad editing, bad CGI, bad direction, bad scripts, as a kind of vain cash grab. Tolkien had already established a religion, several different languages, not to mention entire geography in which to place this single child story.
He's so right. Well, thanks for watching this totally fair and even debate.
What do you guys think? Is the book or the movies better? Let us know in the comments below.
Thanks again, and this has been Adaptable.
It really started me on a journey exploring the vast...
In the movie you get to see elves, dwarves, orcs, eagles. I'm missing one.
It'll feed the family for weeks!
It's not really a triangle. Legolas never had a chance. You know what they say about a dwarf's hammer?
It's in his pants.
Beggars can't be choosers.